Hi, and welcome to Reframed, a podcast presented by the Gladney Center for Adoption. Reframed is for adopted parents, therapists, clinicians, educators, and other professionals who have a real love for children and a desire to meet their needs. Each of our episodes is going to be a real conversation with a special guest who has an expertise in a field. We are talking about reframing our parenting skills, our practices, as well as our expectations of our children from a traditional parenting style into a mindful parenting style. My name is Nancy Robbins, and I am the Director of Digital Media at Gladney. I also, in my role, have the privilege of being the producer of this podcast, Reframed. And today I have the honor of introducing our audience to our host of Reframed, Emily Moorhead. Emily not only is the host of this show, but she is also our research and curriculum supervisor of Gladney University. Hi, Emily.
Hey, Nancy.
How are you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me today. This is fun. We flip seats.
I know, we have flipped seats, and now we're going to flip our script. Are you ready to get started?
I'm ready.
Okay, so first question off the bat is, tell us a little bit about your education and background.
Okay, so I have a bachelor's in development and family studies from the University of North Texas, so just right up the road in Denton. And then we moved to Oklahoma, and I got my master's degree at Southern Nazarene University, and it's in marriage and family therapy. And I am a licensed professional counselor in the state of Texas.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot. So you really like education then?
I love to learn. I absolutely love to learn, hence my job. I get to learn for a living. It's pretty fun.
That is fun. It's always good to like your job, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely.
I agree. I love my job too. So tell me, what about Gladney made you want to come and work here with all of your background?
So I worked as a forensic interviewer in Oklahoma, which basically means if there's an allegation of abuse or neglect, kids come to a child advocacy center and an interviewer interviews them, basically asking them questions about their safety, if something happened to their body, things like that. I worked there for 3 years, and over the course of 3 years, I interviewed almost 1,000 children.
Oh my goodness.
It was a phenomenally large number for Oklahoma County and other counties. And basically with that, I got tired of hearing really hard stories and not really being able to do anything about it. And so when I finished my master's, I decided that I wanted to come back to Texas and move closer to family, of course. And I knew about Gladney. I'd heard about Gladney because I've been a born and raised Texan. And so kind of one of the things that I thought was adoption feels like prevention to me. Adoption feels like prevention to foster care. If moms and dads who weren't prepared to parent knew about adoption as an option, well, then their child wouldn't ever enter the system of abuse or neglect. And so I called Gladney and begged for a job, and here I am. It's pretty cool.
We're glad that you're here. I've enjoyed
you.
working with you over these years. And I know that as the research and curriculum supervisor, you just have really settled into that role, and you seem to really love that aspect of it. Can you tell us a little bit about what is so special about research and developing curriculum?
Yeah, so at Gladney, I've had a few hats, as some of us do. So I worked in education for a while. I educated the medical community, so doctors, nurses, and social workers, about the option of adoption and how to share it with their patients so they felt empowered and informed. And then I moved to the clinical side of things and moved into providing education for our families in post-adoption and then counseling for them. And through my love for educating and then clinical support, I knew that Gladney was able to grow so much through research and education. We are a leader in adoption. We've done over 30,000 adoptions, and so there's so much data and so much learning that can be done just through working with our families. And so when our boss, Jennifer, started dreaming up Gladney University, it was so fun to get to even talk about the option of creating this program.
Right.
And really just having a whole program dedicated to empowerment of children, bettering a child's life. And so she basically created this entire program off the notion of everyone deserves education, and through educating, we change our world. And so it's been really fun to be a part of and so exciting to see it grow so quickly.
Right, and it has grown really quickly with Gladney University, and now we're rolling out a Reframe podcast to further that education. So with all the data that you're able to capture, what are you hoping to see as outcomes?
That's a big question because there's so many different opportunities. I think our biggest question is knowing that when at Gladney, obviously we help build families. And so knowing that we are placing the child in the healthiest and best educated family home. So we're providing the child the best opportunities for the rest of their life. I mean, that is so impactful. And we know that one child can change the world. And Gladney touches so many children and families' lives. And so it's phenomenal just thinking in our own agency what we can do through education. But even outside of that, being able to educate, clinicians in the field and parents in the field, maybe who haven't even been touched by adoption.
Right.
Sharing parenting information and empowering so many different people from so many different walks of life. I mean, it's a phenomenal opportunity. So I think our outcomes, they touch such a wide array, but we really just want to know that our children are loved and cared for.
Right. And so when we talk about our real conversations with all of our special guests that we have lined up to come on our podcast, we talk about changing our traditional parenting styles to more of a mindful parenting. I know what traditional parenting style means. It's like what I was raised with, how my parents raised me. Tell me a little bit about, what does mindful parenting mean?
So I think that being mindful of your practice, how that impacts your child. There's no set recipe for every child. It would be so great if there was.
Yeah.
It would make everyone's life so much easier if this is how we do it and this is the right way. But that's just not available. And so what we know is that every child needs a different approach to parenting, and just being aware of how you parent can change the whole course of your family. And so being aware of, hey, I have this history of being parented, like you said, this one way.
Right.
And that didn't always feel good for me, or that wasn't always helpful for me in this way. And so I want to be aware of how I'm treating my child, and how I'm speaking to them and how I'm showing them and modeling them, with behaviors. And so with Reframed and with Gladney University, I mean, we're going to talk about all different types of practices in parenting. There's mindful parenting, there's being aware of just the neurodevelopmental, brain of a child and how, they receive information and they learn new behaviors. I mean, just knowing all of the different practices that you can apply and creating your own recipe for your child. It's so, so important.
Well, that sounds wonderful, and it sounds very interesting. I love hearing podcasts where I can apply that information to my parenting skills.
Absolutely.
So I believe that that's what we're planning on doing for everyone that tunes into our podcast Reframed.
Absolutely.
I think that's going to be great. And so we want to say thank you and for joining us today, and that we hope that you will subscribe, download, share, and offer us reviews. We are really excited to bring you wonderful content. And as we say here at Gladney, we do believe that every child deserves a loving and caring home, and we hope that you will help us with our mission. Thanks for tuning in, and we will talk with you next time on an episode of Reframed.